Alright guys, welcome to the video. If you're here, then I'm sure you're here to learn about my introductory powerlifting program, guys. This is nothing groundbreaking, this is nothing that's going to blow your mind, but it's something that I've compiled together that can help a beginner get to that over 1,000 pound total. Now remember guys, if you're here for powerlifting, then you're here for the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. I tried my best with the drawings, I really did. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to make it as concise as I can. I'm going to make it as informative as I can. I'm going to leave a link, or at least I'm going to leave something with the program in the description. Either I'm going to write it out, all of it, or I'm going to leave a link to some sort of like Google Doc or something like that. I'll figure it out. But either way guys, the program will be in the description. So what I'm going to go over next is basically program goals. And there's going to be top 3 goals. And it's going to be how we're going to get you strong and get over that 1,000 pound total, because then you're going to be at that nice intermediate level and you're going to be strong, and that's what we all want to be. So I'll see you guys all in the next section. Alrighty guys, back at it again with the whiteboards over here. And so basically, I just want to say really quickly guys that this isn't something that I just made up. This is a program that I've been using and still using right now. It's something that I really do believe in, it works, and it's a combination of a lot of things, but without further ado, let's look over the 3 main aspects of what this program deals with and how it gets you strong. Now, I'm just going to go over this really quickly here, but we're going to break into 3 actual sections of the video. You're going to progressive overload, you're going to work on super maximal loads, and you're also going to train your weak points with high specificity. Training with high specificity, guys, I'm going to go over more later. But basically, we have to focus on the specific portion of the lift that you are failing at most, and that is what we're going to do with the training. So without further ado guys, let's get into this and let's get into progressive overload and how exactly we're going to work on that. Alright guys, so the way we're going to make you progress in your power block is we're going to be focusing on a 3x3 with your squats. Now with this 3x3, we are going to be using a weight that you might not necessarily be able to complete for the 3x3, but that's okay, because this is how the progressive overload comes into play. Every time you complete the 3x3 with a new weight, you're going to immediately jump the weight up 10 pounds on the next power block. So let's say for instance, I got 365 in the past, which I did, for a full 3x3. Well, the very next week, I'm going to be using 375 for the 3x3. Now, I might not be able to complete 375 for a 3x3, but the power block is an opportunity for me to basically show the strength that I'm gaining, and the 3x3 itself stands as a benchmark to show your progress. And at each time you complete it, you have to bump it up to keep increasing the overload. So it might go for 365, you might take 4 weeks to do it, you might get 375 on the first try, which I did, and then after doing it the first try, you're going to move right to 385 on the next power block, and that's the way it goes. And now for the volume control block, guys, the way you're going to get progressive overload is you're going to be working with a 3x5 mainly, and that isn't necessarily tied in as much with the control portion of that block. I'm going to explain that in a later section, but it's still important because you're going to be starting off with 3x5 on squats, but you're not supposed to go to failure. The point is you're supposed to complete all 3 sets of 5. But once the RPE on that last set of 5 drops down to about an 8.5, you're going to jump it up 10 pounds. So for instance, if you did 315 for 3 sets of 5 and it felt relatively easy on that last set, that last rep, RPE 8, next time you go on the control block, I want you to use 325 instead. So that's how we're doing it with squats, and the bench and the deadlift more or less follow that if you guys look at the program itself. I'm going to lay it all out in actual type and writing there, but that's basically how we're going to progressively overload your lifts. And next, we are going to look at the super maximal loading.
And now we're doing super maximal loading. Wow!
Thanks to my amazing assistant, Jenny. We have now introduced the topic super maximal loading, guys. Now, super maximal loading is very important to me because I feel that just using progressive overload is great, but I personally got a lot more out of my lifting and everything in general by using loads that were a lot heavier than I can handle, and that's what super maximal loading is. It's basically using loads that you can't actually be able to handle for the entire lift normally, but it's being able to use those loads and either do partial movements that have to do with the lift, or you could still do just isometric holds to get you used to using heavier weight. For instance, this program is going to have us doing heavy walkouts on squats. It's going to have you doing, for instance, floor presses to get your top portion of the bench a lot stronger and to use heavier weight than you normally use. It's also going to be, for instance, having us do things such as pin squats, which are, guys, I have to say, an absolutely amazing movement. Really helped me a ton because basically these movements, they make us use weights that are heavier than we can normally handle, but because they're heavier than that, we start to get a psychological effect that has us more comfortable with using heavier weights, which is one big deal. And also that nerve shock of using like heavier weight, for me personally, it's worked immensely. Like the top part of my bench has greatly improved because of this. My squat feels, even though the top portion of your squat is going to be the strongest, the top portion of my squat now feels so much more explosive than it did before. And the best part is you get so much more comfortable with having heavy loads on you. So when you go for a meet day, you're not surprised when you're suddenly using a weight that you're not used to, because that, guys, can be a big killer. Alright guys, on to section 3, the final section, but just as important as the rest. Train your weak points with high specificity. What do I mean by this, guys? So what this means is when you're doing a squat, bench, or deadlift, there tends to be a specific part of the squat, bench, deadlift, etc. that if you fail, it is that part that you fail at consistently. Most people have something like this. So for instance, if you're benching and you're going to the top of the bench, you might just fail right there. Or when you're squatting, getting out of the hole is the hardest part for you, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, we can't let these things rest on their own. We can't just work it out by just doing the same overall lift, because in combination with working on the actual lift of squat, bench, and deadlift, if we work on our weak points too, we're going to increase our overall lift way more, and I'm going to explain to you guys how. So for instance, my weakest part of my bench, and what tends to be for a lot of people, is the bottom part. Now, this program is going to be using Spoto press for that, because what Spoto press is, I suggest you look it up, but it is basically where we're going to do a regular bench press, but we're going to pause right above the chest and hold it there, and then we're going to go up. It's an absolutely excellent movement, guys, for getting the chest stronger, because it has to deal with, it teaches your chest how to control the weight at the bottom, which is going to translate to your pause bench a lot. Now, for instance, with squat, what we're going to do is we're going to use something called low pin squats. Not a lot of people use low pin squats. I haven't seen it used that often, but it's an absolutely amazing movement, guys, because what happens is you do a pin squat, you go all the way into the hole, you go really deep in the squat, and then you rest the bar on the pins, and then you drive up. And when you do this, it has you driving up from a squat in a completely untightened position, and it's absolutely amazing. It's going to make your squat so much stronger in combination with pause squats. It's going to do phenomenal work for you guys. And the final thing that I want to talk about is pause deadlifts, because oftentimes me being a sumo puller, the hardest part of my deadlift is getting it off the ground. Once I can get it off, I can usually clinch it. So we're going to be using things like pause deadlifts to get your deadlift a hell of a lot stronger. So guys, that is train weak points with high specificity. It's going to do wonders to your overall total. And all in all, guys, these three things, these three basically aspects of the program are what makes the program, in my opinion, a great program for intermediate beginner lifters. Because once you get advanced, we're going to have to start using more advanced techniques to get your strength higher. But for those who are trying to get to that intermediate to advanced level, you know, we have to work with the basics. And the basics are these three main points. So guys, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I tried to be as concise and informative as possible. I think I did a good job, but if you have any feedback, please let me know. And let me know what you think of the program in the comments. If you plan on using any variation of it, I would love to hear that. And without further ado, guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.